It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like,
OnFireTV.com.
Welcome back. You man Diamond K in here, of course. TheDiamondKShow.com, OnFire-TV.com, RadioOnFire.com. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. I am back from a long vacation, but I've been getting work done. And there are a lot of changes coming here to OnFire-TV.com, Radio on Fire, and, of course, The Diamond K Show. So we're going to be talking about that in the days and weeks to come. Right now, though, not only in Flint, not only in Jackson, Mississippi, but in many cities around the country, including Baltimore, water contamination is an issue. It's an issue. What do these challenges have in common? What do these challenges have in common? Very simple. Very simple. We're talking about mostly Black communities. Mostly Black communities facing a water contamination issue and have been dealing with it for years. So I want to talk about it. Let's actually start in Baltimore. Here in Baltimore, Baltimore's tap water. Where does it originate? Where does it come from? Baltimore's tap water originates as what they call surface water. And it is collected from rainfall and snowmelt as the source of the water. Now, this water supply, approximately 75 billion gallons of storage volume. Like, we're talking about a lot of water. Now, at maximum capacity, this water is collected and stored in the city-owned and operated watersheds. That's Liberty, Lock Raven, and Pretty Boy. So our tap water comes from surface. The surface water comes from rainfall and snowmelt. Natural sources, right? But then we've had to deal with lead in the water. Lead enters Baltimore's tap water through the older lead pipe, the older lead service pipes, and the lead-containing plumbing. So when it originates, it is not containing lead. But the corrosion measures, the corrosion control measures that were put into place by the municipality has failed. Failed in Flint, has failed here in Baltimore. So what has resulted is lead leaching into the drinking water and reaching dangerous levels. Currently, 10% of samples analyzed for lead in Baltimore are over 3.06 parts per billion. Now, through Baltimore's water quality is, I don't know, I guess it's currently in compliance with federal regulations. The EPA and the CDC both acknowledge that there is no safe level of lead. How can these things both be true? How can Baltimore be in compliance with federal regulations, and then the federal regulators say that there's no safe level of lead? And we're saying, based on federal regulations, the lead that's in your water is okay. And then they turn around and say no level of lead is okay. How can both of these things be true at the same time? They cannot. They cannot. But this is where we are. This is where we are in the city of Baltimore, in Flint, and many other cities around this country. Water quality is currently in federal compliance. Yeah. Some people have some explaining to do. Federal regulations do not take into account levels measured at an individual tap. Of course they don't. Because if they measure the individual taps, the lead's through the roof. But if they measure a large sample supply, then it is something that they can sweep under the rug. Homes built before 1986 are the most susceptible to lead contamination. Homes built before 1986, a vast majority of homes here in Baltimore. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that any taps used to serve children have lead levels no higher than 1 part per billion. Oh, yeah. Some people have some explaining to do. Now, we often talk about lead in the water, but there is also arsenic concentrations in Baltimore's drinking water. What is arsenic? I'm sure that you've heard of arsenic before. But let's talk a little bit about arsenic. So, arsenic is a toxic heavy metal that is known to cause cancer and other health issues. So, of course, why wouldn't it be in our water supply, right? Why not? I mean, clearly, they don't give a damn. Clearly, they don't give a damn. Now, unlike lead, which distributes into water from plumbing, arsenic comes from the source water itself. So the average of less than 3 parts per billion is within EPA's regulated threshold. But it is strongly recommended that anyone that lives in an area with more than 1 part per billion take steps to remove arsenic from their water, especially families with children. So you know how they say the onus is on you. The onus is on us. But yet the government regulators, they just get off scot-free. Literally pushing poison into our communities. Literally pushing poison in our communities. Chromium-6 is in Baltimore's drinking water. Well, this is a hazardous metal not regulated by the EPA in drinking water. Baltimore's tap water recently averaged 39 parts per trillion for chromium-6. These levels are nearly twice in concentration determined to have an impact on cancer risk. There are byproducts in the drinking water. Radium in the drinking water. Yeah, it is. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. And it is up to us. The onus is on us to figure this out. Radium is a naturally occurring radioactive metal. Radium in the drinking water is of primary concern because exposure through drinking water may cause cancer, kidney damage, and birth defects. Radium levels in 2020 were reported to be as high as 1.6 ppb, with the EPA maximum contaminant level goal of 5 ppb. Yeah, so there is a lot of problems with drinking water. A lot of problems here in Baltimore and beyond. So what is being done? So recently, last week, there was a scare with regards to E. coli in the water supply in some areas. So water contamination problems that originated in West Baltimore. So the Baltimore City Council is doing a probe. They introduced a resolution on Monday in an effort to hold the Department of Public Works accountable after a 4-day water boil advisory. This advisory was placed on much of West Baltimore because of water contamination. And, as usual, government agency, oh, no, us? No, it's your fault. You did it. DPW said last Monday that routine water samples tests showed harmful bacteria in the water, including E. coli, and placed thousands under a water boil advisory. So harmful bacteria in the water. There was more in the water than just E. coli, but they wanted to point out the E. coli part. That's something that y'all can understand. All right. They didn't want to talk about the other contaminants in the water. So the city council scheduled 3 upcoming hearings with DPW to explain how this water crisis was handled and whether it should have been handled better. It definitely should. It shouldn't have happened. This is 2022. A lot of confusion, a lot of delays, incompetence, negligence, a lot. Last Monday, public was informed of a water boil advisory. The councilman, Baltimore City Councilman Costello, said that the first positive test occurred last Saturday afternoon, several days before the public was even notified. We did not find out until late Monday evening after we had the water, one resident said last week. The mayor, Brandon Scott, said once DPW received that confirmation, the public was notified. He added that their protocol is to test the water multiple times before an announcement is made. So he's trying to get in front of this, that, of course, DPW can't be to blame when they actually are. They actually are to blame. But they are part of a system that is set up to not help poor and less fortunate folks. In Jackson, the boil water notice has been in effect since July. And during this broadcast, Jackson's boil water notice was lifted. At a press conference moments ago, Governor Tate Reeves announced that the state-imposed boil water notice in Jackson could be lifted. The notice, as I said, has been in place since July 29th and was put in place due to the high levels of malfeasance in the water. So they in the water samples. You've seen the videos. This is the state capital, Jackson, Mississippi. Mostly black. Oh, there it is again. On Tuesday, the Mississippi State Department of Health officially began testing water quality. We can now announce we have restored clean water to the city of Jackson, he said. The boil water advisory can be lifted for all those who rely on Jackson's water system. Minutes later, the city announced on its social media page that the notice had been lifted for all water customers. Reeves provided an update on the efforts to address Jackson's water crisis at his press conference today. Reeves was joined by Stephen McCraney, Executive Director, Mississippi Emergency Management Agency, and Jim Craig, Senior Deputy and Director of Mississippi State Department of Health. It caused many of Jackson's faucets to deliver barely, if any, water. It has just been a mess. By September the 2nd, FEMA reported that it had distributed 2.8 million bottles of water in Jackson. As of today, September 15th, Jackson city leaders have reported stable pressure, despite the fact that the boil water advisory remained in effect. So we're going to continue to follow that story, continue to see how things go there. Our water quality is very important, very important. And so many corners have been cut to try to, quote unquote, save money. To, quote unquote, try to save money. So here in Baltimore, City Council wants answers regarding the E. coli contaminated water. Hopefully they get it. Hopefully they keep that pressure on. We're going to continue to follow this story, this and many other stories. Of course, the Diamond K Show, you can always catch up on episodes on fire-tv.com/Diamond K. Anywhere you get podcasts, search the Diamond K Show. You can always catch up on episodes of our programs on fire-tv/watch. Stream our shows live as they happen. Glad that you could join us here. Every Saturday, 6 p.m., the Baltimore Club Show is streaming new episodes where I go in the mix with Baltimore club music on the turntables. You can see them behind me, right? A lot of things. But, of course, the Diamond K Show, you can check me out weekdays, 6 p.m., right here. But additionally, every day, there are going to be episodes of the Diamond K Show because news does not stop just because the show is over. So I'm going to be popping in here throughout the day as news happens.